Hello everyone, this is Zach. I'm going to do a quick tutorial on how to use the Foundry's task management system through Trello. So let's get started. When you first go to Trello.com, the first thing that you will see is probably the last board that you viewed. To see all the boards that you have access to, we can go up here to Boards and go to the Weissman Foundry Task Management group. And this will show us all the boards that we have access to. So for example, we have a board for FLT tasks, Foundry Leadership Team tasks, a board for the task backlog, where all of the tasks that we make and assign out actually get started, and then a board for each of the three teams, Dragon, Fire, and Unicorn. So if we go to a board for one of these teams, for example, you'll see that there are different columns, different lists that we can put tasks into. And so there's a task kind of backlog list that tasks fall into for a team once we assign them out. And once a person or a group of people start working on a task, they can move that task to the doing column. And then from there, if they get stuck, they can move it to the stuck column or to the done column. So I'll move this back to the tasks list where it was. And that's the basics of how people interface with the tasks as it relates to the columns on a team's board. So, figuring out how we create tasks, let's go to the task backlog board, and you'll see that we have this column on the far left full of templates. We use these templates to make all of our tasks just because they have all of the structure that we want to use to make sure all of our tasks are consistent as we assign them out. So let's say, for example, that we want to make an urgent task. We can use the urgent task template and hit this green button at the top, create card from template. You'll see we can name this card. We'll want to leave the word urgent just so people know that it's an urgent task in addition to this tag that they see, the green urgent tag. So let's say we want this to be clean the kitchen. And then under list, we can put this in to be assigned. And you'll see now this is a task that we have created that we need to assign out to a team. Before we assign it out, we want to make sure that we add some more detail to it. So one thing we definitely want to add is a description. We can say stuff like, the kitchen needs to be cleaned. Please clean the fridge, microwave, etc. Yeah. And so we can also add a checklist to the task if that makes it easier to kind of understand the different things that need to be done for a task to be considered complete. So we could add, for example, clean the fridge, clean the microwave, and so on and so forth. And I could check these off as I finish them, and that nice little progress bar shows our completion. So we also want to make sure we add a due date. It's very important. We'll have this be due on Friday, for example, and we'll hit save. And we can also add some other things to this task if we want. We can add an attachment. We can link files from Google Drive, attach files from our computer, all sorts of stuff like that. We can also add a cover image that will show up on the card itself to give a little bit more visibility to the task when it shows up in people's boards. One other thing that we want to make sure we add to the task before we assign it out is giving it a priority number up here at the top in the title. You'll see this number symbol, so we'll put an actual number there. And this just kind of gives a sense of what order a team should do their tasks in. So for example, if I put a number 1 here, that means that this task is the most urgent, they should do it first. And we can also use the due dates to communicate the same information. But if we have 2 tasks due on the same day, for example, this is a way that we can say this one is the most pressing. We need to get this one done. So once we have a task how we want it, now it's time to assign it. So let's say we want to assign this task to Team Dragon band we. So first we're actually going to add the label for the band. We can hit that little plus button under labels, select we, should always be this orange tag that says we. We'll close out of that. And once we've done that, we can go down here under actions, go to move, and then you'll see that this board is a drop down. We can select Team Dragon, and it'll just automatically go to their tasks list so that somebody can grab that task and start working on it. So we'll hit move, and you'll see that this card has disappeared from the Task Backlog board and onto Team Dragon's board. Should appear here in just a second. There it is. Awesome. So we have this urgent task, and when somebody starts working on this, they can add themselves to the card as a member. So I could start working on this. I would assign myself to it, and I can write a comment on this card just saying what I have done so far and give updates for anybody who's following this task or anybody else who wants to check in on progress. So I could say, for example, started this today, cleaned the fridge. Great. I can also @ people in comments or attach things of myself, all sorts of stuff down here. I'll hit save, and now this shows up in the activity section of the card for anyone else to be able to view. So now that I've assigned myself to this and I've actually started working on the task, I will move it to the doing column. This task is in progress. People can check in on how the task is going just by looking in here. And yeah, I would check clean the fridge. I've done that part. If I got stuck for some reason on the task, if there was something that was standing in my way of completing the task, I could move it to the stuck column, and I'd probably want to provide some sort of comment as to why this task got stuck. So I could say, couldn't find the cleaning supplies, or something like that. Gives us a better sense of why this task is in stuck, and then we, as the FLT, the Scout managers, can triage that and help a team get it back on track. So maybe it moves back to doing, or ultimately to done after it gets completed. And now we can see all of the tasks that this team has completed. You'll also notice over here in tasks that they are all sorted by which band they're assigned to. So all of the yes tasks are on top, all of the we tasks come next in orange, all of the C tasks are down here. And if your Trello isn't showing the actual labels for these tasks, it could just be because you need to click on the actual tag bubbles themselves, the label bubbles, and that should expand them out and show you the text on those. You'll see right here, this is actually a good example of a cover image on a task. They added this to the task just so they could kind of give a better visual representation of what the task meant. So now that we've done that, let's go back to our boards. We can look at the task backlog board for a couple other things. You'll see there are these other columns over here, user experience, scout initiatives, marketing, and other FLT tasks. We can use these columns just to kind of help ourselves better organize the work that we're assigning out. These first 3 columns right here are tasks that specifically relate to the semester goals that we, the FLT, set out for ourselves to complete. So that's just a bit of a structure to help us better organize. And then there are tasks that we can make for the FLT ourselves that we can put into the FLT tasks column. So that means that we, the FLT, should have our own board as well, which we do. You'll see, just like the others, that we have our tasks list, our doing, done, and stuck. So we can use that just like the other team boards use theirs as well. And yeah, if there are any questions amongst tasks within teams and bands, we've been encouraging Slack use within the band, within the team, or using the comment section on the card. But ultimately, Slack has proven to be more successful just because we know for sure that everybody's following that and receiving notifications on that. So yeah, that's pretty much the basics of the Trello system, at least from our use side of it. Thank you all for watching.